Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Tigers, 31-17, Matt, on the season. They've got the best pitching in baseball, but don't look now. The Twins are now on their heels at 26-21.
The best hitters can't stay healthy. We obviously saw a situation last week where two of those guys got hurt on the same play. So that's the Twins, and I think Twins fans, I'm up in Twins country. Twins fans know that up here, and you're kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid, in-game live, game day. Myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden. The first 2 hours are done. We have 2 more hours left, bringing you up until 8 p.m., where I believe it's Scott Wetzel and Dave Sherapan taking over for in-game live at 8. I could be wrong with that. It is them taking over on Memorial Day. We've touched on everything. We've touched on the MLB games that started, that were closing when we came on at 4. The 4 o'clock games that we saw first pitch, those games are ending or have ended. We have a game coming up in about 10 minutes between the Dodgers and the Guardians. We have a game coming up at 7. We also have NHL action tonight, NBA action. We've touched on both of those. But one minor note, if you are betting the NHL, we will be seeing Freddie Anderson back in net for the Carolina Hurricanes. We saw Pyotr Kochetkov get the start in Game 3. That did not go well for them, so they're back to Freddie Anderson. The Panthers will also be without Sam Reinhart, Nico Mikkola, and A.J. Greer, 3 of their players. Obviously, Reinhart was out the previous game. But again, if you're betting on the games, have as much information as you possibly can. For the MLB, again, with games starting at 6:10, 7:10, I want to touch back on the NBA because Joe, I have made a play on this game. I finally pulled the trigger, and it was something that we talked about with Adam. And he said that the Thunder are the better team. We're getting a great number on them, this, that, the other thing. So I am on the Thunder at -3. I am also on the Thunder at -9.5 at +200.
I think that's a great way. I love when you take a team and you really believe in them to win and cover the original spread. Playing those lines is something I did with the New York Knicks yesterday. Now, I took the New York Knicks yesterday to win that, laying 5.5, and then I laddered it up to that 10.5 mark. We know the 5.5 was able to cash, and it did. It was enough money right around that +200 that you're getting on this game tonight to pay that off. And I think it's a great way. And I believe in, if the Thunder do win, they're going to win this big. Like, I don't think this is a game where if they win, even if it goes to overtime, I would look at the Thunder to pull away in that case. So I like where you're going with that at +200. So much value there. And if you think they win it in that style, are you then looking at it to go over?
It probably does. And then you could say the same thing. It's like, okay, if it goes over, it's probably their team total right, going over as well. So the question becomes is I have the -3. I have another play on -9.5, which I do think they win. What's their team total? Let's just check this. So they are the away team. It's 111.5 at -104 to the over. The game total is sitting at 219. So the question becomes is, do I want to have all my eggs in one basket kind of thing? Where I'm already, I already have bets here. Do I want to keep adding onto the pile? Because, the Thunder, if their defense steps up like I expected to after giving up 140 some odd points, the Thunder could win this game. Let's just make the math really easy. If they cover the 9.5, they could win this game 100, right, to 90, right? So they cover the 9.5. They don't go over their team total. The game doesn't go over, but they cover the alt spread. So at that point, would I even come out net positive or net even if I have all these bets stacked up? So that would require a little bit of math to see what exact unit amounts I want on each bet.
Okay, I understand where you're going to go with that. Now, what are you going to do with players here, Tom? So I've got a couple of players circled. I will be looking at Julius Randle to come out nice and strong in this one. I do think he can make a difference here for the Timberwolves in his point regard, taking him over the 18.5 points. I really like what we saw out of him in game 3, and I know that game 2 was hard for him, but I do think this is a great spot. And then SGA, I think SGA, I love his assists, and I keep slipping instead of saying SGP, saying SGA. So I think maybe it's a sign that I should start ulting him there, because I do think we're going to see Williams get those points on the board. We're going to see SGA be able to get probably double digits assists. So that leads me to thinking, okay, so what about the double-double for him? And are we going to get enough money on a double-double? Double coming in at plus 310. I think those assists are coming big today. I'll take a chance on SGA for the double at plus 310.
As for Randall, I almost want to say first quarter points at 4.5. Give me a couple buckets. I talked about this with Adam. Does he like the SGA? Does he want to get things going early? But part of me thinks that they need to get Randall going early, as we saw in the most recent game, alongside Ant. It can't just be Ant in the first quarter. 4.5. It's for Julius Randle. It's 4.5 -102 on the over, -130 on the under. I could convince myself of the over between now and tip off in 2.5 hours, whatever it might be. We might have to circle back on that and get some thoughts from some of our guests as they come out. Let's just touch on the baseball real quick. Reds at the Royals. We have seen the Reds with a 2-run homer from Salvador Perez. So that puts the game at 6-2. The live total has jumped up to 10.5 as they are in the bottom of the 7th with 2 on and no out. So the Royals are threatening to put across another run. The live, Tommy, do we have a game board for the Royals Reds? The pregame total, I think it was 7.5, Joe, 8, whatever it was, because we're seeing 7.5, because we're sitting at 8 runs now, and that live total jumped up to 9.5 once the Reds got to 6 runs, and that was 6 runs in the 5th inning, and now it's the bottom of the 7th to get us those 2 more runs. So if you are live betting overs for some of that, you are looking pretty good right now at 6-2.
Yeah, you definitely are. And it's incredible to see Kevin Gausman still pitching out here for the Toronto Blue Jays at the bottom of the 8th. You got to wonder how much longer he's going to stay in this game. Are they going to keep him going deep here? So I'm seeing a bottom of the 8th right now. No runners on for the Texas Rangers, but no runners out at the moment. And they're a huge underdog at plus 330 here at home, Tom.
Okay, so Gausman, 7 innings. 6 strikeouts to 1 earned run. He's all giving up the 5 hits with bottom 8. He's up to 88 pitches, about to touch 90. But I didn't realize this through just all the games going on. But Jacob deGrom, 5.1 innings pitched, only the 2 earned runs. As you can see, the Blue Jays only have 2. deGrom had 0 strikeouts, which is rather interesting. I would have to assume. I mean, I don't know if we have the pitcher game cards, but I would have to assume deGrom's strikeout prop was 5.5, maybe even 6.5. And the fact that he had 0 is rather interesting. So if you are taking unders on pitchers, or you took an under on DeGrom today, congrats, because 5 innings and no strikeouts. I don't even know the last time we saw that from Jacob DeGrom. But regardless of that, the Blue Jays are still up 2-1. Reds just pushed across another run, so it's now 6-3, giving us 9 total runs. So again, if you are live betting the overs in that, you are looking pretty good. And frankly, it's only 3 runs for the Royals, and credit to the Royals bullpen, because Michael Lorenzen got touched up for the 6 runs, but the bullpen has kind of locked things down since and have kept the Reds quiet. So if the Reds can get another run in, let's call it the bottom of the 8th, they'll be within 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th, within striking distance, have the top of the lineup coming back up with Bobby Witt, and we know what he can do. Dodgers, Guardians just had first pitch underway. We will track that as it goes on. We will have George Kurtz coming up in a few minutes, and then we'll run through the rest of the MLB slate. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid in-game live up until 8 p.m.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
What's going on? Welcome back to In-Game Live Game Day right here on SportsGrid. Tom Vecchio along with Joe Madden bring you up until 8 p.m. We have a guest here, as we teased before, George Kurtz here, ready to talk MLB, some NHL. George, happy Memorial Day. How you doing?
Doing well. Like a little baseball here. Memorial Day afternoon here. Always you're a big fan of that. We got the hockey game tonight, so I'm sort of in heaven here.
Absolutely. There's a couple games. Go ahead, Tom.
Go for it. Oh, no. Go ahead.
I was going to say there's a couple games going on right now. George, getting pretty late in the majority of them. Is there anything that you're sweating out at the moment?
I don't know about really sweating out here. I'm on the under in the Toronto-Texas game. We talked about that a bunch yesterday. Toronto seems to be a team where at home, you're not going to bet the under at home, right? They hit at home here. On the road, they're not hitting. They didn't hit all that well at Tampa Bay. They're not hitting today at all. And Texas can't hit anywhere. All right, so it may not matter there. So I thought that was an easy under there, but I wouldn't call that a sweat. Kansas City Royals, I'm on the over, which I think I have, or I'm a half under. Either I'm winning by the hook or losing by the hook, so I think I'll be okay there. I am on the Mets today in a parlay, so I guess I am sweating them out. What are we in the bottom of the seventh here? And the Mets, no runs, really, no runs, Mets. I mean, so yeah, that's not starting off that well for me.
No, and we were talking about their live money line because the books, or at least FanDuel, is refusing to hang a big number on them. It got up to plus 118, plus 120, but it was never jumping up to that, minus or plus, 200 mark that we'd like to see for the Mets, as they have two runners on with no outs in the bottom of the seventh. That line has immediately jumped to minus 186. As for any of the night games, do you have any action? And actually, one quick note about the Blue Jays and the Rangers. I'm not sure if you saw, but DeGrom went 5.1 innings, only the 2 runs, no strikeouts from DeGrom.
Yeah, I have him in a fantasy league or two, so that doesn't make me happy. All right, didn't get the quality start, no strikeouts, and he's not going to get the win there, trailing here. So sort of a bummer of a day. First thing I thought of when I saw that, because I wasn't watching the first couple of innings of the game, is did he come out due to injury? So as long as he's healthy, I'm not going to complain. What are you going to do here? He is dialing it back. We know that. He says he's doing that. They're trying to keep him healthy, so he's not trying to throw 99. He's becoming more of a pitcher rather than a thrower here. So, and I'm all for that, by the way, because I think he needs to do that in order to make – listen, he's not going to make 32 starts, all right? I'll take 24 to 25. I'll take that and run. And this is what he has to do to make those starts. What are you going to do? He's got to stay healthy.
Now, the LA Dodgers have taken that 1-0 lead over the Cleveland Guardians. We're seeing a live total of 7.5. Do you expect the Dodgers to continue to be able to get these runs here on Gavin Williams?
Gavin Williams is sort of a 50-50 guy. Sometimes he pitches well, sometimes not so much. The Cleveland ballpark there, Jacobs Field, or whatever, the Progressive, whatever they're calling it nowadays, I go back to Municipal, it's a pitcher's park. It's not a hitter's haven there, so we got to keep that in mind there. The theory here was that the Dodgers can't be thrilled about how they played over the weekend against the Mets. They lost 2 out of 3 here, and that maybe they would beat the snot out of Cleveland today. You'll get the other half of my parlay. Mets and Dodgers played each other over the weekend. Well, I took them in my first parlay of today, Mets with the Dodgers. So, yes, I do expect the Dodgers to take care of business against the Cleveland Guardians.
So coming up for these night games, so these are some interesting lines, especially when it comes to the Marlins and the Padres. I understand that the Padres are the better team, but Randy Vasquez is a terrible pitcher. And I have no interest in laying the minus 152 on that. I was thinking about getting some Kyle Stowers action for the Marlins because he has been fantastic. But do you have any action on any of these late games? Because we see some pretty heavy lines out there.
Can I interest you in an over 8 in the San Diego game? You said Vasquez is terrible. Weathers ain't much better. All right, Weathers is no great guy either here. So I sort of read it the same way as you. I took the over. It's only minus 1. It's minus 104 now. I think I might have got it at minus 106, 107, something like that. So I took the over in that game, and happy to do so there. I'm not going to touch the game itself because I don't trust either pitcher here. All right, we got the Yankees playing Kochanovich after that. This is another game I wanted to take the over, but they sort of juiced up to 9.5, and it's a high vig as well. So I'm not doing that. Though I do expect runs to be scored there. Maybe you want to take a team total over for the Yankees. Could go in that direction. Keep in mind though, Yankees. I know I hate when people say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you take away the 10-run inning on Saturday, where they scored 10 runs in the 5th, they didn't score 10 runs the rest of the series. All right, the Yankees are not hitting. They didn't hit versus Texas either. They're winning games because of pitching, not because of hitting right now. They're sort of in a hitting slump there. So something to keep in mind with the New York Yankees. And I think, by the way, I think the Angels are going to win tonight. I think the Yankees were lucky to beat Colorado last night. I think the Angels will win tonight. I'm going to take the plus money with the Los Angeles Angels.
Oh, that's great plus money at plus 148. Now, George, do you have any strategies going into games out there on the diamonds on a day like today, Memorial Day, with any of the home teams or with any of these totals, especially in the night games?
Nothing specifically for Memorial Day or because it's Memorial Day. I did wonder about, the Mets did worry me somewhat because you wonder, okay, big series against the Dodgers. You play on Sunday night and you come back and play. It's a late day game, but a day game nonetheless. So I can't say I'm surprised that the Mets are sputtering right now. Still, I bet on them at Chicago. But if they would have been playing a decent team, I probably would have bet on the decent team. They just had to be playing a terrible team here. The Dodgers sort of was the reverse because they didn't play so well, even though, once again, they played a night game. A couple of hours later, stuff for them in Cleveland. I thought they would rebound today. So that was the only strategy. But that's the strategy I look at against Sunday night baseball. Not specifically for Memorial Day, but looking at the teams that played on Sunday night and where they're going the next day.
So the Reds did just push through another run that is 7-3. That does cash any overs that people were sweating. Definitely on board with looking at travel schedules and whatnot. For the question is, and we've been talking about this throughout the day, and I mentioned this multiple times. I'm going to be on the Mets tomorrow. If they lose to the White Sox today, I'll be on the Mets tomorrow. Is that something that you would be interested in? It's McGill on the mound for them tomorrow.
They're playing the White Sox. Yeah, I'm in. Listen, you had me at White Sox. Okay, I don't care if the Mets win or lose tomorrow. I will have them tomorrow. It probably won't be on the money line. At least not straight up. A parlay. Maybe you're going to play them on the run line here. But I'll definitely have the Mets in some kind of play tomorrow. And listen, I'll have the Mets on Wednesday, too, no matter what happens today and what happens tomorrow. I'll have the Mets in all 3 games. They currently have the bases loaded, 2 outs now. Still haven't scored a run, though.
Yeah, interesting to see the books have put them up to minus 118 with those 2 outs and the bases loaded. George, is there any players that you're going to roll with tonight for their props?
As far as home run guys, I mean, you're playing in Los Angeles, the Yankees, that's thick air, marine air. It's hard to hit a home run out there. And like I said, Judge is not doing much damage right now. But the place to hit home runs into L.A. is to right field with that, the Ohtani porch that they lowered there. I'm going to go back to Bellinger. Bet on him yesterday. I'm going to go back to tonight.
So we're coming up against a break right now. George will stick around. We'll talk about the NHL game coming up tonight. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those 2 teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? There's enough blame to go both sides, but guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid in-game live game day. Myself, Tom Vecchio, along with Joe Madden, bringing you up until 8 p.m. We have George Kurtz here to talk about tonight's Carolina Panthers, not football, Carolina Hurricanes versus the Florida Panthers. We're here to talk about hockey. We're not here to talk about pizza or anything like that. It's a 5.5 over-under. Panthers are minus 178 on the money line. The Carolina Hurricanes have been absolutely embarrassed this series. George, do they get it extended 1 game and then lose at home in game 5, or is this just a clean sweep for the Panthers tonight?
So there's
honestly,
that.
good point.
Listen, if you want to bet the Canes, I can't give you any reason other than the fact that Florida's going to take the foot off the gas here. They are holding a couple of players out tonight. Reinhardt's not going to play. Me not going to play. Someone else as well that I saw is out tonight. So I guess there's that. Once again, you could point to they don't care about tonight's game. Fine, if you want to do that. I don't think that's the truth, though. I think once again, the Canes is sort of a poor man's Florida. They play sort of the same system, but they don't have the same players. They're slower. All right. I mean, we've seen Florida is so quick at getting out of their zone. They're much quicker than the New Jersey Devils were or the Washington Capitals. And Carolina just can't. They can't stick with it. They can't. All right. They're going back to Frederick Anderson tonight. I mean, going to Kocheka was a panic move. I don't think Anderson's played all that well, but it wasn't his fault either. You're not scoring goals, also, by the way. So you got all sorts of problems here. Listen. Could I see the Canes extending this to 5? Sure. Am I going to bet it? No. Give me the Florida Panthers sweep.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you there. This Florida Panthers team has been playing so strong, and they smell blood in the water, and they're looking to finish this series up nice and fast. So looking at this game tonight, we've got them at minus 182 on the money line. Do you think this is a game where maybe Carolina can do anything and push it to overtime, or would you just be looking at a puck line bet here for the Florida Panthers laying 1.5 at plus 142? Because I think, George, if they win it by a couple goals.
I can completely agree with you, Joe, because what are we seeing? We know if they're down by a goal or 2, 3, whatever it might be, they're going to pull the goalie, between 3 and 4 minutes, and here come the empty netters. All right, so yeah, I'm going to play the 142 here. I wouldn't play the minus. Actually, it just went down to minus 178. It was minus 184 a second ago, so it's gone down a nickel. I'm going to play the that they win by more than 1. All right, that's where I'm going to go with this here. You could certainly play some anytime goal scorers with Florida as well, but that's a little tougher. I know I lost them for Hagee. Maybe you want to go with Marchand here. You can go with Barkov. He's been hot as well. This team is loaded, but it's also what makes them a great team. They have players up the wazoo on 3 lines here. They keep rolling them over at you, and any of them are a threat. That sort of thing. I also do wonder this. Both teams, could they get caught up in wanting their pound of flesh? Carolina taking stupid penalties because we're not going to win the series anyway. And that could also push this towards an over because there'll be more power plays. We know Tkachuk wants Aho dead, all right, for what Aho did to Reinhardt. So I think they're going to try and get him again tonight at some point because they don't care. They have nothing to lose. What's the worst thing that can happen to them? They're down 3-1. They're up 3-1. They can play Game 5. They won Game 5. They're not worried about that. So I do worry about more power play opportunities. But I shouldn't say worry about it, by the way. I'm on the over, so I want all the power plays I can get.
So one of the bets we were talking about before is Sergei Bobrovsky over 23.5 saves, and it's just, back against the wall, do or die game, Bobrovsky. So I want your thoughts on that, but I also want your thoughts. There's a separate Bobrovsky save, which would be 6+ saves in each period at minus 115. So do you like the over for him in general, and do you like the secondary bet?
I probably like the secondary bet better than the first bet, only because 6 shots. Are you kidding me? And remember,
they better.
Carolina's a team that plays shoot everything on net, right? That's what they want to do: shoot, crash, go for deflections, go for screening, and all that. So you should get that. If you don't get that, that means things went really awry. There had to be one period where a brawl and they were down the whole period. So yes, I'd probably like the 6+ shots in each period minus 150, and I have no issue with that. That's when I would almost expect to win that. And it's rare that I expect to win a bet. I think I can win this bet, but it's not all that many bets where I think I expect to win. I would expect to win that. By the way, over 23.5 I like as well. That's only an average of 8 a period. You should be getting that too. My only worry is that does Carolina, listen, we're Game 4, we're down 3-0, let's change things. Let's try to make the pretty play here. Try and get on sports in the top 10, that sort of thing. But I would take both bets.
Anything else that you'd be looking at in this game?
I do think there'll be power plays here. So I think you go play for power play prop points here. I'm nothing on Carolina, by the way. I just don't know if they can score. So all my props are on with Florida. I mentioned Barkov as a guy I'm high on tonight. For Hagee, I do have for an anytime goal again. I'm going back to that well here. He didn't score last time. I'll see if he can do it again. Marchand, I got him for over 1.5 points. I just think he loves just putting the needle into these teams, and I think he's going to do it again tonight.
Panthers looking to come away with a sweep. They are up 3-0, and the Carolina Hurricanes look like a beer league team at this point. Thanks for Georgia being here. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned on the Sports Grid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too short of a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We are back right here on SportsGrid, in-game live game day. Myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden bringing you up until 8 p.m. Thanks to George Kurtz for being here, talking some MLB, talking some NHL. Also, during the break, shout out to our producers behind the scenes, Tommy, giving us info. That was the first start ever for Jacob deGrom that he had no strikeouts. Obviously, one of the best pitchers of this generation, 0 strikeouts for deGrom. And all things considered, was a pretty good start. You go out there, you only give up 2 runs. You'd like to think that your offense can get it done, but that is not the case. The Mets are also in the top of the 8th for the Mets. 1 runner on for the White Sox, I should say, Mets game. 1 runner on for the White Sox. It is going to the bottom of the 9th. The Royals are down 7-3. The Reds are taking care of business. White Sox again up 1-0. The Dodgers have pushed across another run. They were up 2-0. Top of the second, they still have 2 runners on with 1 out. The live total has jumped up to 8.5, and they are minus 720 on the money line. Joe, remind the people out there what you have for the Dodgers team total, you said, or you were looking for a first 5 team total, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I wasn't able to find a first 5 team total, but if you can get it on your books, I would have been looking at the over 3.5, 4.5, no matter what it was out there. They've started off this nice and strong. They do have 2 runs on the board versus the Cleveland Guardians, getting those runs on Gavin Williams, and they've got runners on first and second right now. Looking at those lines out there, I do think if you didn't touch the total going into this one, looking at the over 8.5 at minus 130 is a really solid way to go. Now, George made a good point on Bellinger. Bellinger was one of the bats that I had yesterday for the home run, unable to do it. So I did jump back in on Bellinger, and I do think he'll be able to get something done today. So everything just locked up in that one, Tom. Looking at the Kansas City Royals, Are they tapping out? They're going into the bottom of the 9th. They're down 5 runs. Are they ready to go home and barbecue? Because if you don't think they're going to put any effort in, you could have looked at the under 10.5, but it was way too juiced. The over, if you think they're going to put the effort in, right? Like they're going to play something here at the bottom. I don't know. Over 10.5 at plus 330. This would be a Scott Wetzel sprinkle, 100%.
So I always come on with Scott and Dave at night, but obviously you do a ton of shows with him. he likes these sprinkles because to me, I would say, like, listen, we had our chances. Either bet this early or whatever it might be. I wouldn't be jumping on a plus three. I mean, granted, it's 7-3 right now just to set the table for the Reds and the Royals going to the bottom of the ninth. They just need that one run. So a solo shot, they do get the leadoff runner on to first. Now, okay, so immediately it's down to plus 178. It was plus 350, but that is not my type of bet. That's what Scott likes to roll with.
Yeah, Scott, every once in a while will be like, look at that. It's plus 350. Why not? Put a couple shekels on it. And they did get that runner on it first. So I didn't get in on it. I wouldn't do it now at plus 178 with that runner on first. But you have every possibility of, the Kansas City Royals just bringing one runner home and being able to get there. So something always interesting to look at. But you've got to look for great plus money, right, Tom? Like, I don't think I would do it for, plus 150, plus 170 style of bet. It would have to be like a plus 400, plus 350 style of thing before I would ever take a sprinkle on something like that.
Yeah, and that's something you have to be, I'm going to say you have to be actively ready for. Right? Like, that's not something you can just be scrolling along as the games are going on and just be like, oh, I see this big number. Look, you have to understand the context of the game. It's 7-3. It's the bottom of the ninth. This is the last chance that I have to get it. It's a plus 300, 400, whatever it might be. I'm, actively watching the game and going to be ready for that. It's the same thing. You often talk about overtime for various sports, and a lot of people during NFL season do the same kind of same thought process where you have to be ready for it. It's like, okay, this team is up by whatever. If they have a field goal, it'll put them at 20. The team will then get the ball back, and if they get a touchdown and the extra point, then we'll be tied at 20, and then we'll be in a spot. So you have to be looking for that specific outcome rather than just firing off random bets on overs and unders as you are scrolling through the sports books. But nonetheless, the Dodgers were not able to get across another run, 2-0 heading to the bottom of the second.
And look at the lines adjust. They've got runners on first and second now. Sorry to interrupt you. That 10.5
no,
minus
it's good.
182.
Yeah, 10.5 minus 182. So from 350 down to 182. And who was it? It was Sal Perez just got hit by a pitch. I just brought it up. So it's 7-3. Listen, the Scott Wetzel special would have been looking pretty right now if you got it at plus 350 and it's down to minus 182. And here's the thing. So we have, so 2 runners on, no outs. They're down by 4. But the issue is that, Miguel Garcia is coming up. After this, it's going to be 6, 7, 8. So it is a weaker portion of the lineup for the Royals rather than seeing a lead off with India Witt and then Vinny P. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out because at a certain, now it's minus 192. Clearly things are moving in that direction. So I'm interested just to see how this plays out and if we actually do get this run across because it's hilarious that we talked about it and now it's actually coming to fruition, yet neither of us were able to get that bet in.
Yeah, and everything is locked right now, Tom, is what I am seeing. So, so there must be an out because now I'm seeing the 10.5 at plus 146 to the over. But I always love to see the overreactions like in these lines, like how quickly and how fast they do move out there. So not an overreaction, but the reaction to what's happening out there. So that under is now showing that juice. And that's something I probably should have looked at where we got when we got the negative money to the over 10.5, where that under was sitting, because it's something I missed looking at. But now the under 10.5 minus 180, the over at plus 134. So runners still on first and second, just one out here. So we'll see what the Royals are able to do. You imagine if they actually were able to tie up this game, it would take loaded bases, grand slam, then another run. So
right. So I just brought the game up just to follow along as it goes through, but 2 on, 1 out in the bottom of the ninth, and whoever this pitcher is for the Reds does not have the strike zone, and he's throwing out some balls. So now it's back to minus 140 on the over 10.5 to get across one run. So this is where things move, and the number that I am still waiting to see would be the Mets, because the Mets got out of the top of the eighth. The White Sox had 2 runners on, and now the Mets are almost at plus 150. I would be willing to take a shot at plus 150 for the Mets if it crosses that going into the bottom of the eighth.
Oh, absolutely. And there's your plus 150 right now, Tom, on FanDuel, if you want to grab it at plus 150. And then if you do think that's going to come into play, you also could look at the over 2.5 runs in this game, that over 2.5 minus 130. So if they're getting it, they're getting a couple runs here. It's going to go to extra innings if not.
It is. And the Royals batter just got a walk. I believe it was a 4-pitch walk. And now the over 10.5 is up to minus 178, which is a dramatic turn of things. So bases loaded, 1 out, and the was this the number 8 hitter coming up? Or no, they're having a pinch hitter come up now. It's going to be Drew Waters coming up as a pinch hitter, bases loaded with some showers going on, some rain. Not looking good for the Reds, who were up 6-0 at one point, are now in a spot where they could be having some stress in the bottom of the 9th for the Royals and could in a spot to potentially tie this game. So we're coming up against the break right now. We will follow this through the break, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, so if you took the over 10.5 at plus 350, you'd have a beautiful hedge right now at under 10.5 at plus 148, Tom.
Right, and that is something you can only do live, again, as you are paying attention. It's not just something you can be scrolling through the sports book and say, oh, plus 300, let me just throw something on there. You have to understand the context that there are bases loaded and be ready to actively move as it happens. Because if you don't grab the under 10.5 on the other side, now it jumped up to 11.5. We're coming up against a break right now. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid, in-game live, game day. Myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden bring you up for about another hour and 15 minutes up until 8 p.m., running through the day's slate. And we have seen that run come across for the Royals and the Reds as we have a walk in the bottom of the 9th. Multiple walks, bases loaded. So Michael Massey just walked. It is now 7-4, and the over 10.5 at plus 350 would have cashed if you got that in there. The Scott Wetzel spec. Oh, actually, excuse me, that wasn't a walk. It was a balk. It was a balk on the pitcher that moved the runners up. So it's now second and third, still with 2 outs, 7-4. But nonetheless, the run does cross.
It's amazing. If you got that plus 350, good on you, that's for sure, because that would have been stressful, a sweat there, but they've got runners on second and third right now, 2 outs, and everything looks locked up. So 7-4 a game for the Cincinnati Reds at the moment. We'll see if the Royals bring anyone else home, but if you really do think they can tie up this game, they're plus 750 on that money line right before they locked it again, Tom. So not sure what's happening out there.
I'm watching it right now. He's fouling off pitches. It's 2-2, bottom 9. Yeah, he just keeps fouling off pitches. So we'll see. If actually, I did see the live 12.5 get posted. I don't know if they'll hang the 11.5 again, if that'll be posted out there. But regardless of that, the Mets are still in the bottom of the 8th. 1 on, 1 out for them. They're down by 1 plus 146 on the money line, and the Dodgers are still up 2-0 over the Guardians. And that is a fly out to end the game for the Royals. Certainly close there at the end, but the over 10.5 does cash for them. Or I should say for the game.
Yeah, that was a good one, Tom. And then we have the Mets. They've got a runner on first here, 1 out. They're plus 132 on that money line versus the Chicago White Sox. So if you think they're going to be able to bring this runner home at plus 144, very nice price on the New York Mets versus the Chicago White Sox. I'm going to stick with what I was saying back in, that 7th, 8th inning. I think Chicago probably just takes this 1-0. I would rather stay off the rest of this game than invest again.
Right, and that's just a case of like what you have in play. Do you want to be doubling down? And that's, again, that's something that everyone needs to know and find out for themselves. You have something in play. Do you care that you have something that's theoretically going against it? An underdog winning, and how does that affect the total, whatever it might be. So always keep that in mind as that game is locked up down. But regardless, for the Dodgers and the Guardians, we were discussing some of the player props beforehand. Yamamoto already has 4 strikeouts through 2 innings. His line was sitting at 6.5. It was minus 102 on the over. I would have liked the over. I just didn't like the price at minus 102. I would want plus money. I don't know if it would ever be out there, but I just didn't want that spot for Yamamoto after a tough series or a tough game yesterday for the Guardians going up against Skubal. I thought they would come out trying to get some hits on the board, but that does look good to start. That game is ending. We have the Twins and the Rays coming up at 7 o'clock. Joe, any action in this game for you?
Yeah, we were talking about this game earlier, and I ended up jumping in on the Minnesota Twins team total. That team total of 4.5 at plus 102 to the over. And that way, I kind of take the winner out of it. Something I like to do. I do think the Minnesota Twins will be able to get the win. It's just Tampa Bay at home on Memorial Day. I just want to take that out of the equation. But like you said, Zach Lytle getting the start here for the Tampa Bay Rays. He hasn't been strong, and we should be able to see the Minnesota Twins be able to get the win in this one. And I think if they get the win by a couple runs. So if you're brave enough, I'd probably alt that run line, laying a 1.5 instead of grabbing the 1.5. And when you lay 1.5 with them, it's plus 158, Tom.
So plus 158 for them. As I mentioned, I am just on the Twins money line, just straight up at plus 106. I think they come away with the win, even though I don't think Chris Paddock is an amazing pitcher. Again, I'm always looking to fade teams that are on long winning streaks and buy into teams on long losing streaks. Not the White Sox, not the Rockies, these terrible teams. I'm not going to be betting on them, but any teams that I deem to be average or above average, I don't expect them to win too many games in a row, lose too many games in a row, whatever it might be. And the Mets have tied it up. Oh, the Mets have tied it up. It is now 1-1. Everything is locked. I can't even get any action in. If you jumped in at plus 150, the Mets have tied it up, and they immediately open it back up, and it is minus 330 for the Mets, tied up with a runner on second, tying that game up. What do we have? I think it was Soto at the dish for that. Let's just see what it was for Soto. Soto hit a sac fly to left. We have a run in, and Brandon Nimmo went from first to second on the sack flies. So Pete Alonso coming up 2 outs, runner on second. Mets, again, immediately back up to minus 330 on the money line. If you grab them at the plus 150, congrats, because that looks fantastic right now.
Oh, absolutely. That plus 150 mark. I wish I would have invested because we know at the end of the day, the Mets are the stronger, the better team. But I didn't. I couldn't do it today. Looking at the later games, the Pittsburgh Pirates versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, Tom, where are you going to go with this one? This is another game where I'm looking for the runs to come in. I think the over 9.5 is in play. I'm also rolling with the yes runs first inning, and in this one, as well as that later game, I will be looking at the over 1.5 in the first inning for those runs. That's coming in at plus 200. So invested there. I just don't trust either pitchers to really limit the bats. And I think Memorial Day, I'm looking for explosive starts in these games.
I am too. Frankly, I'm waiting to see. I don't know how many times I've said this in my life, but I want to see the Marlins lineup, which I haven't been able to find because I want to potentially look to a Kyle Stowers prop. Now, all things considered, he should be in there regardless, but I just do want that confirmation if he's going to be in there because again, Randy Vasquez is not a good pitcher for the San Diego Padres, but I can't find the Marlins lineup. I'll have to check during the break, which we are coming up to right now. Closing out the third hour in just a few minutes and then bring you up until 8 p.m. So the Mets tied things up 1-1 in the bottom of the eighth. I believe they're making a pitching change. Pete Alonso coming to the plate. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid, in-game live, game day. Myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden, closing out the third hour, bringing you up until 8 p.m. We have been following this Mets-White Sox game really for the majority of it because, got off to a slow start. White Sox grab a run with a sac fly from Andrew Benintendi. If you were betting on White Sox player props, good luck and congrats if you cashed the Andrew Benintendi RBI prop. But it was the fact that the Mets were getting one hit for the majority of this game, and we were talking about their live money line, which at a certain point when they were into the fifth inning, the sixth inning, it was still only at minus 108, plus 100. It really wasn't a big number for the Mets, despite the fact that they were getting one hit and the game was going on and on. It did get up to plus 146 for the Mets on the money line, and lo and behold, they come through and tie things with a Juan Soto sac fly to tie the game. So they are now heading to I believe the eighth inning just ended. They will be heading to the top of the ninth, tie game 1-1, and the Mets are minus 215 on the money line, 245 on the money line as things are moving. Dodgers are up 2-0 over the Guardians. In that game, 7.5 live total. We saw Shohei Ohtani lead off on the first pitch of the game with a home run, so that cashes the Ohtani RBI prop. That cashes the Ohtani 2+ total base prop and the Ohtani home run prop, which Joe, I believe you said was sitting at plus 240. And then we will have another baseball game with the Twins and the Rays getting underway in just about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we absolutely will. I'm going to look at the over 3.5 right now between the Chicago White Sox and the New York Mets. I know I didn't want to invest, but you're looking going into the top of the ninth here. The over 3.5, I think, is a great bet because I do think we go to extra innings. So you already get that runner on second. I expect the Mets to finish it up in extras here. So I'll take the over 3.5 live. There's nothing, actually, the over 3.5 now minus 114. Those lines just keep moving a little bit there, Tom. Not sure why, locking up a bit, but we are live here at the top of the ninth, about to kick off. And then the Dodgers and the Guardians, everything's locked up right now. We do see the Cleveland Guardians actually with runners on first and second. Wasn't expecting to see that Yamamoto out here pitching for the Dodgers. I expect him to go nice and deep into this game. We know how strong he has been, and I do expect the Dodgers to be able to help us get those runs on the board, hitting Gavin Williams. Now that total's dropped now to a 7.5. I think it's a great price to the over 7.5 at minus 136. And yes, the Dodgers might have to get the majority of those runs, and we'll have to wait till the bullpen does come out here for the Dodgers, for the guards to be able to help us. But 7.5, Tom, it seems a little light in a Dodgers game right now.
It does, and they are in the midst of, or they were reviewing a play, and now that is passed. So it's 2 on, 1 out for the Guardians in the bottom of the third, or maybe that was just ruled a foul ball by Stephen Kwan, and he's still back at the plate. So Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers. Dodgers are up 2-0. Yamamoto was it still 4 strikeouts through 2.1. Runners on second and third for the Guardians. So listen, again, like you said, the Dodgers should be able to get the runs by themselves. If we can get the Guardians to chip in a couple runs here, that would really put things in a good spot for the over 7.5 or the live over 7.5 if you grabbed it. Because again, the Guardians team total was at 2.5. And granted, it was juiced to the over at minus 150 for 2.5. But again, if they can get to 2, even push past that third run, you would like to think that the Dodgers are doing what their offense should be doing and pouring in, 4 runs of their own, maybe 5, and then we'd be in a spot to hit the over on 7.5. So that's what we would like to see. I'm still seeing it locked up despite the fact that this game is playing and there's normal baseball things going on. They're not reviewing anything. But, and we're going to see a run scored. So I guess that's ruled a fielder's choice, and it'll be 2-1 Guardians, 2-1 Dodgers Guardians.
Okay, 2-1 game and everything. I haven't seen that reflection on my book as of yet, Tom. So what odds? Okay, there come the odds. It's minus 290 right now. Dodgers money line, of course, way too juicy to invest in. And then plus 215 on the Guardians. That total's still 7.5, which I'm surprised by. The 7.5 still minus 130 to the over. So I can't go anywhere else but look at that total still, Tom, in this one. What about you? We got to get 8 runs, right?
Yeah, I think 7.5 is a fine spot at minus 130. There's still minus 130 now. It's back up. I don't mind that for 7.5. The fact that we already have 3 in the bottom of the third, I like that. We are coming up against a break right now. Mets 2 outs in the top of the ninth. They are looking to walk things off. If they can get to the bottom of the ninth, they're minus 280 on the money line right now. Stay tuned. In-game live, we'll be back right after the break, right here on SportsGrid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong of a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We are back right here on SportsGrid, in-game live, game day. Myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden bring you up until 8 p.m. Eastern. The Mets are going to the bottom of the 9th inning, looking to walk things off as they were being one hit for the majority of the game. They're now up to minus 330 on the money line, coming through with that late sac fly from Juan Soto. The Dodgers got out of the bottom of the 3rd inning, only allowing the 1 run. They're now up 2-1. Max Muncy, what does he do? He flies out. Pages is coming up. Regardless of that, 2-1. Joe and I are jumping in on the live over 7.5 for that. Twins Rays about to have first pitch in just a few minutes. And then we are about an hour away of seeing the puck drop from Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Florida Panthers. Joe and I have gone through this game extensively. And then we are an hour and a half away from Thunder and Timberwolves at 8:30. Joe, anything you want to touch on either of these playoff games that we haven't spoken about? Any extra plays that you may have?
Yeah, I think George Kurtz made a very good point. Those power play points coming in tonight. Now we look at the Florida Panthers in that last game. They weren't able to convert on any of their power plays, even though they were able to get the win. They went 0-4, and we saw Carolina really take a good opportunity and hit on 2 of their 4 power play opportunities out there. So if we jump into the market there for the power play points, we know that those power play points, you're going to need to go on the power play. So there is more risk. But I do think if Carolina is going to score, it is going to come via the power play tonight. Now, when I'm not on that team, really hard for me to look at them to be able to do so. But I think, you look at Sebastian Aho, he's coming in at plus 200. I think that is a nice market. I think Seth Jarvis as well at plus 210, really nice as well. But I want to look at Florida because I do think Florida is the team that is going to be able to get the win. I think that conversion on the power play will come tonight, and they will dominate this game. So when I look at the power play, when I look at the value, you can look at Matthew Tkachuk. I think Matthew Tkachuk will end up in the box because, again, like George said, he's after Sebastian Aho, after Aho hit one of their players. So Kachuk's going to find himself in the box. I'd stay off of him. But I would look at Barkov at plus 180 for that power play point, and then Sam Bennett for the power play point at plus 340. So I think that's a great way to go. And I also really like the block shots on goal market. So looking at the block shots on goal market, I did take Seth Jones of the Florida Panthers for 3+ block shots at plus 200. I think it's a solid bet out there. He's been stepping in front of the puck, and Florida just wants to finish this off. They don't want to allow Carolina to push it to one more game. They want to finish things off here at home, not get back out on the road. And I think they're going to do so. So look for all of their players to step up in every way. I was wondering if they had anything here for Frederik Andersen. And Tom, I really can't wait to hear your take on what you think mindset-wise Frederik Andersen's going to be like. Because I tell you, pulling a goaltender in game 3 because you had no confidence in them, and then putting your backup goaltender in for the same result that maybe it would have been with Frederik Andersen, but they had to take a chance getting Trocheckov in, but it wasn't the chance that paid off. So now you have to go back to your main guy because he's a better goaltender. Where's his head at? His save shot on goal prop is 23.5. It's minus 132 to the under, and I can't see him having a great mindset. Like, I don't know him as a person, how rattled he's going to be, but I would think he'd be pretty rattled, Tom.
It's very simple for Freddie Andersen. The Panthers can't score first. Like, the Hurricanes cannot give up the first goal in this game, right? And it can't be quickly. Like, if the Panthers get out and they score in the first, I don't know, call it 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, whatever you want to say. If they score first and they get the crowd behind them, the game's over right there. The only way the Hurricanes have a shot is if they can score first and then kind of hold back the Panthers, because at that point, kind of what George and you are saying is if the Hurricanes get out to a lead, that's when the Panthers can't be taking penalties. So if they get a lead and multiple goals, that's where we'll start to see the penalties start to pile up, and that's where the extra power plays could be coming in, trying to bait the Hurricanes into some things. So if the Panthers score first, the game is over, and it's over immediately. We will see that this minus 182 money line, we'll see it jump up to 250, 300, whatever it might be. The Hurricanes have to keep it close, and they have to win this game 2-1. If it goes high scoring, just give me the Panthers time and time again.
Yeah, and I'm completely with you. I really do think the Florida Panthers will be looking to score first. They're going to be looking to capture that lead and just get things done. Now, there's a lot of fun prop bets over on FanDuel. So, Tom, why don't I throw a couple at you? I'm on the specials tab, and there's a game specials for goals. We could look at the top players here for the Florida Panthers to combine for 3+ goals. That's Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, and Verhaeghe to combine for 3+ goals at plus 550. You could then look at Barkov, Bookquist, and Rodriguez to combine for 3+ goals. That's a plus 1,200. I would rather look at that top line, but if you wanted to look at a line for Carolina or players for Carolina because they're not on the same line, Taylor Hall hasn't been moved up to the same line as Sebastian Aho, I don't believe. But it is Aho, Seth Jarvis, and Hall to combine for 3+ goals. If you think Carolina is going to do something, I can't touch it. It's plus 1,000. Do you like Bennett, Tkachuk, and Verhaeghe to combine for 3 at plus 550?
That is, if there's anyone to do it, especially with Reinhart being out, that combo is pretty solid. Like, that's about as best as we're going to get. You maybe, like you said, Tkachuk may be taking penalties, therefore he'd be in the box. I would love to just say Bennett, Barkov, and Verhaeghe. That's what I would love to see. That obviously doesn't give you that combination. And yes, you could theoretically just bet on those players and throw them into an SGP, but that would be each player individually having a goal. This is the combo of them. So it doesn't matter if one player has 3. So I would like to see Bennett, Barkov, and Verhaeghe instead of Tkachuk, because I am worried about the penalties just like you are. But plus 550, I think, is an okay price. It's not amazing. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I want to throw something else at you. Can we see Bobrovsky get the shutout? Because I can't find it on the books.
Ooh.
Right? Like, Bobrovsky has every ability to. I don't trust Carolina at all.
Bobrovsky shutout. So that would have to be... I know DK has it. And this is just something I'm going to have to, not total saves. It may be under a team total, like you just bet the team total under. There's like an all Carolina team total under, therefore. It's theoretically it's the same thing. We can look more into this because I know DK has it, but I'm not seeing it on FanDuel. Or is it a team to record a shutout, something like that? Because
it's really overtime and shutout, and there's nothing there. So I'm kind of disappointed because I want Bobrovsky for the shutout. I'm going to have to go searching elsewhere.
All right, so goalie props on DK. Team to win in a shutout on DK would be the Panthers at plus 550, the Canes at plus 850. So it is there. He's got to find it. I can't find it on FanDuel, but we can search around for it during the break as we're coming up against one very shortly. After this, we will have Cam Stewart on. As you see here all across SportsGrid, we will have him on to talk all things NHL, NBA, MLB. We know he has action all over the place. So stay tuned here. We got about 50 minutes left, bringing you up until 8 o'clock. And then Scott Wetzel and Dave Sherapan will take things over from 8 to 10. We'll have the in-game of these two playoff games between the NBA and the NHL. Of course, they always have some MLB action as well. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
What's going on? Welcome back to In-Game Live Game Day right here on SportsGrid. Myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden bring you up until 8 p.m. The Mets, during the commercial break, they walked it off with a Francisco Lindor sac fly, so the Mets got it done. Their live money line jumped up to plus 150 at a time, which we talked about. if you want to jump in there. So I assume a lot of people have Mets in their parlays, as George Kurtz was talking about before. Now we have Cam Stewart on to talk all things NBA, NHL, MLB. I don't know if you have horse racing. I don't know if you have French Open action, but welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about.
I should stick to horse racing, Tom. It seems to be what I do best in the late night hours. I don't know. If I'm betting on Carolina, I must need like an operation. You guys got to take me to the doctor because this team has just been totally outplayed. But just in hockey, it's really hard to sweep a team. And you have personal pride, but Joe knows this too. Like these guys own these guys, but I got to believe like one game, they actually played a lot better and lost 6-2. It's just, hockey's a weird sport. Like they had times where they look good, but you know, how am I going to attack this game? I'm going to attack it from the first period perspective. I like Carolina in the first period. If they have any chance in this game, plus 135, you could do the plus a half, but it's minus 180. That's crazy juice, right? So I'm not willing to do that. I'm just going to have to go on the money line. And if it's tied, we get a push. So that's how I'm going to start things. And you guys in the break were talking, I like Stankoven tonight for Carolina. If he's going to get any points, he's their guy. He had 2 points in the last game when they lost, so I'm going to take him. And what do you say, Tom? Plus, like, minus a half, minus, what was it, plus 190? That's good enough for me.
Plus 190 if you're over half a point.
That's good. Logan Stankoven's my guy. I like Aho as well. He was minus 140, but I'll take Stankoven. I really like the price. I think you guys, I was listening to you earlier, and I think you're right. I think Carolina has to win, you know, a 3-2 type of game. They have to play defense. Haven't been really looking good. The goaltending's been weak. The defense has been weak. But if I know one thing about hockey players and pride, I think they'd show up for a game and, you know, maybe lose the next game or the game after. But I found something very interesting. If you do like Carolina, you can get them Florida still to win the series in 6 or 7. One's plus, so if they win in 6, it's plus 710. And the other one, if they win tonight, plus 360. So say they do win tonight, you got those in your back pocket. Like that's kind of the way you play. If you really like an underdog, that's the way you can go with that game. Baseball, Tommy, things were good with me. Yeah, I had the Blue Jays today. A little bit of a homer pick. They won 2-1. The Mets are in parlays. That's good. You guys talked to Kurt about this. But I'm doing the Minnesota two-step tonight. I'm on the Frost in the women's PWHL championship game. They're up 1-0 against Ottawa. And give me Minnesota live, plus 105. Paddock. And right now, going for the Twins. I will take a shot with Minnesota to win in women's hockey and to win in baseball. I'm going to Minnesota. Oh, my God. And the Timberwolves are tonight. Do I dare do a three-step? Yes, we will, Tom. Give me the Minnesota Timberwolves plus 3.5 as well at home. I don't know what it is about Oklahoma City. They murder teams at home. They look pretty normal on the road. Can Minnesota do it again? Yes. That was a crazy game between Indiana and the Knicks. You guys... Man, what were you thinking, Tom? What were people in New York thinking when at halftime of that game? Were they like throwing up and then like all of a sudden things got real?
I'm not a Knicks fan, but I was on their money line last night. And I will say is like the Knicks come back from all these 20-point deficits. At a certain point, do teams just not go up 20 points? Do they just get to 18? Yep. They just give the ball right back to the Knicks?
We've seen, I don't know what's happening in this NBA season, but it's been like nothing I've ever seen before. Look at the Boston Celtics. Look what the Knicks did to the Celtics. They had multiple 20-point leads or more. And Joe knows one of our books in Canada, you know, I don't work for these guys, but Bet365, if you're up 20, they grade you, Tom, as a winner. And you can come back on the other side. It doesn't matter. So you got Boston, you got Boston Celtics, you've won the bet, and then you come back and they lose the game and you get paid. So that's something to look for, like in a book where these teams, no lead is safe anymore. But I'll tell you one thing about the Minnesota Timberwolves at home. They're not afraid of Oklahoma City. On the road, Oklahoma City looks almost unbeatable. This is a very home-based series, I guess. The teams at home are showing their power, their might, and Minnesota understands one thing. They can't screw around with these guys. They got to jump on them early, and they have to do what they did last time. Wow, I can't believe I'm doing this. So Minnesota.
Okay, so on the hard one,
I know these guys too. I was telling Wetzel, I hit a triactor in horse racing. He goes, what the hell's a triactor? I go, isn't it called a trifecta? I go, yeah, but in Canada, in standard breed racing, Tom, it's called a triactor. For everyone knows, not a tractor, a triactor. So yeah, that's what I hit in Australia. Basically, you hit first, second, and third race. Sorry, Joe, I hate to interrupt. Nice tan. You're looking good, Joe, and I'm looking very red today. very hot outside. I
Oh,
went
thank
for a walk
you.
without
It's been
sunscreen.
warm here in YYC,
Oh, that's
so
26
been out
degrees.
there
I'm getting
enjoying
into
that
the
weather.
weather here. Yeah, I'm enjoying the weather today. It was the first hot day. What do you got for me, Joe?
I love it. Well, I wanted to know if you're backing the Timberwolves tonight, is there any players, like, are you going to circle Julius Randle to have another big day? Are you going to look at this total in any capacity? What else do you have?
Right now, just the side in the game. I got burned with Naz Reid on one bet. He went down to 9.5. He got 10, and I had 10.5 and lost by the hook in the first game. I think we can get there with him. I would have to take Minnesota's team total as well. And guys, I don't know if this is like a correlated bet, but maybe Minnesota in the first quarter to come out and jump on these guys too. Like, look what happens in these bets, like first quarter, first half game. That's what happened last time when you run a team out of the building. It looked like that way for the Pacers, but the Knicks came back the last game. So, you know what? I think if you like the Minnesota Timberwolves, you got to believe they'll come out and punch Oklahoma City in the face. They need a lead in this game, and they're going to have to maintain a lead, because when Oklahoma City has a lead, they absolutely bury you. So, yes, I will add that to the repertoire. I'm on them in the game, so yeah, I'm all Minnesota tonight. I don't know what the hell should I move to St. Paul? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I like Minnesota.
So I agree with that. I think Minnesota needs to keep them within arm's reach, and they can't let them get out ahead if they are going to keep things close. We're coming up against a break shortly. I have a question about the NHL, a specific, or I should say, two Bobrovsky plays tonight, which we'll get to on the other side of this, because I think that's the path that we're going to see Carolina play. Regardless if they win the game, I think Bobrovsky could be in for a busy, busy night. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid, in-game live, bring it up until 8 p.m. Cam Stewart sticking around for one more segment. We'll get back to some NHL, and we'll also touch on tomorrow's NHL game between the Stars and the Oilers. Big few games from the Oilers after a collapse in Game 1 there, looking to take a commanding 3-1 series lead. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid in-game live game day. We have Cam Stewart here talking all things NHL. We just touched on some NBA. I want to get back to the Canes and the Panthers tonight. So I like Sergei Bobrovsky over 23.5 saves. Kane's got to put the do or die, just get the pressure going.
Love that.
But there's a secondary.
Great bet, Tom. That's a great
There's a
bet.
secondary Bobrovsky bet. There's a secondary Bobrovsky bet that I do like.
We have to bet this. What's Carolina got to do tonight? They're down 3-0. They got to throw the kitchen sink at these guys.
Right.
That's actually that number is too low. It should be like 27.5 or something like that. I love that.
Right.
Bet.
And now the other Bobrovsky bet is 6+ saves in each period at -115, because it's not just offensive pressure. It's offensive pressure from the start and consistent throughout the game. If they're not getting 6+ shots in each period, they are just objectively doing something wrong. That's what it comes down to. It's got to be pressure. It's got to be early, and it's got to be the whole game.
Well, that's what was Carolina was successful before because they played that style. They shoot from anywhere. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, like, why you guys are looking like the Leafs now? You want to make it pretty? And look where it's getting you. Like, you're not doing it. That's what you do. You shoot the puck. It goes off people. You got to get Bobrovsky early. Don't give him any confidence in a game. That's the whole thing. The minute he starts making saves, that's good Bobrovsky, and he's been absolutely fantastic in the series. And that's the way goaltenders are. Look at Stuart Skinner for Edmonton. Like, Dallas is coming out cold, and you can't do that. You can't give teams these leads and expect to come back all the time. Like, it's just, no, you can't. Carolina has to be successful. They have to shoot the puck. I'm with you, Tom. I think those are great bets. Actually, Joe plays more props than me. I usually do just sides, totals, more parlays and things of that nature. But tonight might be a good prop game for Carolina, because I'll tell you one thing, they're hanging on by a thread. And if they have any stones or any sense of pride, they will come out there and pepper this guy with shots. I love that saves prop too. 23.5 is too low, and I will take 6+ saves in each period. Maybe they'll score some goals. That's six shots a period. It's 18 shots. Are we missing something here?
No. Since you like Carolina, can I throw something else at you that goes along with that, Tom? You could look at Sebastian Aho, right? Because Sebastian Aho, in that first game, I believe he had 6 shots. He got called out. Like, Brenda Moore called out all these top players. You can take him to combine for his goals and his shots at 5+ at +250. So it doesn't matter. His points and his shots on goal. So it doesn't matter if he gets 2 points and 3 shots or what combination. It could be just 5 shots. But if you think Carolina's going to win, you got to think Sebastian Aho has to step up. So +250. Is that enough to convince you, Cam, to take Sebastian Aho for a combination of 5+ points and shots on goal?
I do. I think I wish we got 3, Joe, but I think that's a reasonable number. And he is a shooting machine. As we said before, there's no turning back now. It's like me, you, and Tom. Like this is it. You guys are down 3-0. Like, your season's on the line. You've been dominated in the series. Do you have any pride? It's really hard to sweep teams, but Florida, if anybody's going to do it, it's them. I just think the price of Carolina is too rich tonight. I'm very stubborn. I was wrong about this series from the get-go. I really thought it would go deep. I thought Carolina could play with them, but Florida just looks amazing. But tonight, I believe Brenda Moore calling out these guys. I believe in Aho. I believe in Stankoven. And I want these guys in the first period. I want Tommy's bet over 23.5 saves for Bobrovsky. 6 per period, yes. We're all in. I'm pushing it all in, Joe, on the Carolina Hurricanes. I might be taken away in the storm as you see the money, like at the fair. You know that machine with the typhoon and my money? Well, it's going to be flushed down a toilet probably instead of in a tunnel. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm going down with the ship and the good ship Hurricane tonight. I think they can actually win this game and bring it back to Carolina.
They win it. They bring it back, but they lose game 5 then?
That's the thing. You could get these guys +360. I get +360. Why bet the game if they're going to lose in 5 or 6, and +710 if they lose in 6? Say they win 2 games and they lose in 6, Tom. That's what you have to do with Carolina. You stack these series crazy plus bets and hope for the best. They win tonight. At least you got something in your back pocket if you had them in the series at the start, because you got absolutely murdered, a.k.a. this guy.
So we're coming up into break.
It's costing me money, which is stupid. I should just get on
right.
board.
We didn't touch on Edmonton or Dallas. If you want to stick around for one more, we can do that, because that is a very, very interesting series and has gone Edmonton's going to be up 3-0 at this point if it wasn't for that one period in game 1. Right. So we will certainly touch on that. I have a Dallas ticket, and I'm not sure what to do at this point. Sitting at 7.5 to 1. So we will touch on that coming up against the break. Stay tuned right here on SportsGrid.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too short of a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid in Game Live Game Day. Last half hour, we're still here with Cam Stewart. Now we can finally get to the Stars and the Oilers. As we said briefly right before the break, I have a Stars Cup future. Cam, you have a Stars Cup future. What are you looking to do in Game 4? Because, man, the Oilers have looked pretty darn good, especially over the past 2 games.
They really have, Tom. And let's give Edmonton credit. And I know this burns Joe, too, being from Calgary Flame Country, like my brother. Watching Edmonton succeed is just like, but they're playing great. And everybody on their team stepping up. They're doing it without Ekholm. Like, look at Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's like a 4th or 5th option with these guys. He's playing great. Guys who used to play for the Leafs, Connor Brown, perfect type of playoff player. Zach Hyman, everybody with these guys. They're all dialed in. And now Stuart Skinner actually can stop a puck. So what are we going to do? I think Dallas, though, if you look at points of that game, they played really well. Like, again, hockey's one of those sports where it's not indicative sometimes. The final, it's like life. It's not fair sometimes. Like, it doesn't matter if we have 40 shots or we outplay you, what goaltender's hot. I'll tell you one thing. DeBoer is going to read these guys the riot act. Edmonton might win this series, Tom, but this is what we have to do as Dallas Stars future ticket holders. They have to win the next game.
Yeah.
In the series, what are they now? 3-1. They're plus 300 in the series to come back, or 280. Like, on one of my book has 3, the other one's 280. So I'm like, okay, they win the next game, and then we can go on Edmonton and get out of this bet and have something, because I have a 12-1 and an 8-1 because we've had Dallas Stars futures for a long, long time, not just for the playoffs, for like at the start. Like, I thought they were a team that could win the Stanley Cup when the season basically started. I was wrong about the Devils. I thought they'd be a better team, but Dallas is a team that I've always had in my back pocket. But right now, Joe's right. We talked about this during the break. Edmonton looks hot. And if Skinner continues to give them goaltending and doesn't gag, we have a real problem here, Tom. So we need Dallas to win the next game. They have to come out and score. They can't give Edmonton leads. They have given up a lead in every single game in this series. Like, wake up. Like, what are you doing? You have to score the first goal. You got to go up 2 or 3-0 and put these guys in a bind. I would take Dallas in the first period next game because this is a problem with them now. They have to score first. They will jump on them, and eventually they will get the goals. I love them in the first period in the next game because they have to change the roles of this game. I think they can beat Edmonton. I still think the series is going 7, but I'm worried about the Oilers. They look really, really good, but that's the thing, Tom, too. Like, they had series prices. Joe knows. Like, Dallas was like, what do I have them here? Actually, I have them here written down. They are plus to win in 6 or 7. They're exact prices, right? Like, that's the whole thing. You get crazy plus numbers, like plus 310 and 450 to win in 6 or 7. Right now, Dallas needs to win the next game because I'm not in, I want to hedge when the series is tied. So we're having faith in them. I don't know how you feel about it. That's how I feel about it. I don't mind getting out of a bet, but I want to get it at a number when the series is tied. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we'll see. Because I want to go on. I don't want to go on Edmonton when they're favorites, like laying 340. If we can get them at like small juice, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, and I need a Dallas. Even though I'm sitting here with an Edmonton ticket, I took Edmonton at 6 at plus 195. So I need Dallas to get a win here. I did think they'd get the split. What is your faith in Jake Ottinger? Because we give a lot of discredit to Skinner when he loses games. Like we saw the one win out of Dallas. Everyone criticized Skinner, and then he comes back out with a shutout. So what's your thoughts in Ottinger?
Great call, Joe. And he seems to get a free pass, right? I think his defense is doing him no favors, but I'll give Morency credit. You know, we talk about being a goaltender. As playoffs wear on, this has been a problem with Jake Ottinger his whole career. He starts off great and it gets worse. It doesn't get better. It's almost like he gets tired. Like, there's time between these games. I don't understand what's going on with this guy. We talked about Hellebuck and Winnipeg on the road. Bad goaltending. Jake Ottinger right now, Edmonton's figured something out. They're going high on him. He looks very, like, he doesn't look comfortable in the net. But the one thing I know about Jake Ottinger is if they're in a game and he makes a key save, they can come back and win, but they're getting down early. We can't just blame the goaltender. Dallas's defense has been deplorable. They haven't back-checked as well, and they haven't played that. The thing about the Dallas Stars is they used to be like a snake, you know, like a big python, and they'd take a lead and they'd squeeze and squeeze and squeeze you, and you felt great when they had a lead. The problem is they're fighting from being down 2-0, 3-0. That's not their game. Their game is to punch you early, to play a very tough defensive game, grind you into the ground. Ottinger needs to be better, but the whole team needs to be better. And they have to come out and get a lead in the first period, which I will be betting tomorrow, guys. I think it's vital that the Dallas Stars come out and get a lead in this game. Because if Edmonton goes up 1 or 2-0 again, they might hit the panic switch. Like, Ottinger doesn't look good when they're down. And I got to give Edmonton credit, too. Take a look at all their goals. Deflections, tips, all sorts of crazy stuff. They're getting in front of the net, and they're really playing greasy hockey. That's what I like about the way the Oilers, like, they used to be a very fancy team. They were like the Toronto of the West. Back and forth, back and forth. Ooh, let's try this pretty play. Now they're like, get in front of the net, tip the damn puck, and like beat a guy up. Like, they're playing tough hockey because they picked up the right guys, and all their guys are stepping up. And they like, I got to give Edmonton a lot of credit. They got close last year, but Joe's kind of right. They smell it. And I want to get out of this bet, Tom. I have Dallas, but do I have confidence in the Dallas Stars winning this series? Not the way Edmonton's playing, but I do think they can win the next game. And it starts with the first period bet. I think they come out hot and they win that game.
So, let's say you think the Oilers are going to win. You think the Panthers are going to win. What would be your initial take on that Stanley Cup? Minimum of 6 games, right? Minimum 6 games net, probably going 7. Would you try to play something exact Oilers to win in 7?
Yeah, 6 or 7, because you can get exact like series, and none of this is going to be 4 or 5. If you take the 6 and take the 7, both will be plus money. The one edge Florida has, like Bobrovsky still, like he's been fantastic. Can Skinner do this over a long period of time? Probably more overs in this series, because if Edmonton is going to beat Florida, I think they got to score a lot of goals. That's the whole thing. They got to help out their goaltender, and they can do it. You see McDavid too. He's got another gear right now. Like, he's just flying. He's scoring. He's just driving. Everybody on Edmonton, their power play looks great, and that's the whole thing. Like, I hate to say it, Tom. My Panther hatred is really clouded my judgment. And this team has cost me a lot of money. And instead of getting on board, I just bet against them. And then I put myself in worse situations. But thank God for horse racing. But I'm telling you, like, I think Edmonton can beat Florida. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think the Stanley Cup. If Edmonton gets there, they're winning the Stanley Cup this year. I really believe, and probably in 6 or 7. But I don't think McDavid will be denied again. He's a guy that if they get there, they know they can't lose 2 times. They might not ever get this opportunity with this core. You got to get the job done, and I think they will if they get there.
Yeah, it's to the point where, I mean, even if the Panthers play the Stars, I would like to say that the Stars get it done. Simply winning back-to-back Stanley Cups, simply making a 3rd straight Stanley Cup for the Panthers would be absolutely unbelievable. So I will be looking to back the Oilers if they do get it done, or if they do get this series done in that capacity. So we're coming up against a break in a few minutes. We have touched on baseball. We have touched on NBA. We have touched on the Stanley Cup playoffs. Do you have any horse racing late, or that you want to throw out there? Any French Open action in tennis that you want to give to the people?
I was looking at the board for French Open. I haven't come up with anything yet, so I wouldn't give a pick, but I'm going to put a parlay together. Tune into Sports Rage tonight. Gabe and I will put together a parlay. There's a couple other games. A lot of these guys, Tom, as you know, like minus 600 and stuff, we got to build a parlay. We can't be laying that type of juice, but we will have tennis picks tonight on the show. I guarantee you that. And I'll see you, Joe, at 10:14 Eastern on Sports Rage. Thanks for having me, guys.
10:14, Joe will be on with Gabe and Cam. That starts at 10 and goes up until midnight. So stay tuned for that. Big thanks to Cam Stewart for coming on for multiple segments to talk all things hockey and NBA playoffs. We're coming up against a break right now. Stay tuned. We have 2 segments left before we get to the end of this and pass it off to Dave Sharapan and Scott Wetzel. Stay tuned right here on Sports Grid. In-game live continues up until 8 p.m. We'll see you guys then.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those 2 teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
What's going on? Welcome back to In-Game Live Game Day right here on SportsGrid. Myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden have been with you for the last 3 hours and 45 minutes or so. We're bringing you up for the final 15 minutes up until 8 p.m. Big thanks to Cam Stewart for being here for multiple segments. You will see him on Sports Rage, as he said, at 10 with Gabe, 10 to 12. Joe, you will be visiting them at, I think, 10:14, he said, as a guest, obviously running through the NHL, which at 10:14, we'll probably have the conclusion. We'll probably know the result of the NHL game at that point. That game is set to have puck drop in, officially listed at 8:10. We'll probably have it, maybe we won't. We won't have the finale of that game, but last third period of that, and then guys talking about Stars, Oilers. Anything else you want to touch on before we get into an MLB recap of today?
Ooh, anything from the NHL that I'd want to touch on? I think you start looking at the block shot market, maybe, Tom, right? Like that one, I'm really high on. I love the Bobrovsky look here. I do think your 6+ save shots on goal in each period for Bobrovsky looks like a great number to get. Now, we did have one game where we really saw Florida locked down on that defensive side, but Carolina, I do think will bring everything they've got. I think if you can find Bobrovsky for the shutout, I would look there. And I did find Carolina under half a goal. Interesting, Tom. It was plus 100 on FanDuel for Carolina under half a goal. Doesn't even make sense, right? So not a way that I would go. I'd look for the shutout for Bobrovsky if you do believe Carolina will struggle to score, and I do think they're going to struggle to score. I think Bobrovsky has every ability to shut out and finish this one off.
Okay, I mean, under half a goal at only plus 130, I mean, under half a goal is a shutout. Just because it's not listed as a shutout is a completely different thing. Shot for the best lines available. Again, you can bet on specific shutouts on DK, and I believe Fanatics has it as well. It's got to be somewhere on FanDuel for under game props or whatever it might be. Like they have the overtime bets. Both teams. I mean, theoretically, if you think the Panthers win and they win via a shutout, you can under game props click on both teams to score and bet no, which is plus 560, which means one of the teams gets shut out. So I guess it does leave the opening that the Hurricanes could win in a shutout, which I don't think. Or actually, you can bet on, here it is, Hurricanes exact goals, 0 goals at plus 850. That would be the shutout for the Hurricanes, which is the same price as it was on DK at plus 850. So it's not, see, that's the issue. And this is what I don't like. It's not called a shutout, which is the only thing. It's like, oh, I want to bet on a shutout tonight. Let me search for shutout. It's not there. It's exact goals or both teams to score no, which you obviously don't want. You would exact goals at plus 850.
Yeah.
So we have that. Let's touch on some. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to note, I wanted to give a big shout out to Priceless, who jumped in the DMs, is out there listening to the show, saying over on Bet365, the shout out for Bobrovsky is coming in at that plus 700 mark. So anyone on Bet365, which is a popular book up here in Canada, you can find it over there.
Right. So always shop for the best lines available and again, different markets, different books have different markets, which is important to know. Let's quickly touch on some MLB. The Dodgers got a couple runs across. They are up 4-1 heading into the top of the 6th. So they got out of the bottom of the 5th clean. Joe, your Dodgers first 5 is through and looking good. So 4-1 in that. The live total for that is still 7.5, but it is juiced a little bit to the over at minus 125. The Twins and the Rays are in the bottom of the 3rd inning. There is no scoring there, despite having some beautiful hitting weather. We've only seen 3 hits in total, 2 for the Twins, 1 for the Rays so far. Good pitching performances from Chris Paddock and Zach Littell for the Rays. A couple strikeouts for each of them, but no runs scored. At 8:10, we will have the Diamondbacks first pitch taking on the Pirates. Joe and I both like over 9.5 in that game. Again, Pirates, you just got to put across 2 or 3. If the Pirates can put across 3 runs, maybe a 4th, hopefully 3, the Diamondbacks can do their thing and push us to 6 runs, maybe 7, and get that offense moving against a bad pitching staff. Then we also have Marlins, Padres. And again, don't mind some offense in that because Randy Vasquez is terrible for the Padres. Same thing with Ryan Weathers. And then when it comes to Yankees and Angels, George Kurtz says he likes the Angels tonight at a plus 148 price. The Yankees, as he was talking about, I believe he said this, maybe, I'm not sure it was on air as we were coming on. They scored 10 runs in that one inning against the Rockies over the weekend, but they didn't score 10 runs for the rest of the series. So their bats weren't as hot as those scores would indicate.
Yeah, they definitely weren't. One thing he was going to come back in on, though, was Cody Bellinger for that home run at plus 420. He was also someone I was high on yesterday. So I did reinvest as soon as George reminded me of that. I hate taking someone for a home run one day and not getting back in. But it has been Aaron Judge that has been coming out so nice and strong each and every single game for the Yankees. He's been performing for them. I know at plus 210, it's not great value, but I still think it's a plus number here, Tom. Are we crazy not to take Aaron Judge at plus 210?
I don't bet home run props when they're that low. That's just me. I prefer the 3.5-ish or higher range, just because I don't think that's enough for a home run. That's highly variable. I don't think 210 is enough, or 215. And granted, Ohtani hit one to lead off the game out, whatever it was today, plus 240. That's just not how I go about things.
Okay, so what do you think of Cody Bellinger? Is that enough value on Cody Bellinger, who just hasn't been getting as many? So plus 420, you'll do that?
420 for Bellinger is fine, going up against Jack Kohanowitz. I could double check this. We're coming up against the break and get more specific, but I believe Kohanowitz versus lefties specifically, he has over a 5 xFIP, which is essentially like ERA. It's a derivative, but it's a little bit cleaner. He struggles mightily versus lefties. I can get that specific number after the break, but yeah, Bellinger at over 4-1 is fine.
Okay, I like where you're going there. What about the pitching props in this matchup? Got anything for us on the strikeouts here?
Probably not. Like, Ryan Yarbrough has been essentially a spot starter for the Yankees. Their fifth option because Luis Gil and Marcus Stroman are still on the IL. The over 3.5 is the right side to be on for Ryan Yarbrough because the Angels are terrible and they're extremely undisciplined at the plate, but I don't want to lay minus 148. So both things are true. I like it, but I don't want to necessarily bet the lines. We're coming up against a break. Stay tuned right here.
We salute the brave and courageous women and men serving in the United States military, protecting our freedom. Please take time this Memorial Day weekend to honor the memory and sacrifice of our military veterans and their loving families, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their service to our nation.
I'm not saying this thing is scripted, but damn it, they put those two teams on the first weekend of the basketball season for a reason, because they were expecting some kind of fireworks. They got it. Did Angel Reese overreact? Probably. Did Caitlin Clark have to stare it down? Probably not. There's enough blame to go both sides. But guess who doesn't care? That's the WNBA.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
back right here in game live, game day on SportsGrid as the Dodgers push across another run. 5-1 they are up. Joe and I both said that we like the over 7.5, and we are certainly trending in that direction. 5-1 for them as Mookie Betts gets a RBI single. So if you're betting player props, that's a total base and an RBI for Mookie Betts. Twins Rays still scoreless. That total has dropped to 5.5 as Freddie Freeman adds in a hit of his own, and the hit parade continues and is now 6-1 Dodgers. And that live total has jumped up to 9.5. So it has been a fantastic nearly 4 hours between myself and Joe Madden. We have talked all things MLB. We've talked all things NHL with multiple guests. We've talked the same thing about the NBA with multiple guests, thanks to our guests of Adam Kaufman, George Kurtz, Cam Stewart, coming on, spending multiple segments with us. We have touched on everything outside of the French Open. We didn't touch on too much. We didn't touch on any of the open wheel racing, which we saw yesterday. We got to the Caitlin Clark injury news. Joe, is there anything else, even looking forward to tomorrow, of bets that you already have your eye on?
Well, looking forward to tomorrow. We do have that big game out there on the ice, and I think it's going to be the Dallas Stars who are able to get the win in that matchup. So right now they're plus 132 on the money line, and I think it's a really fair price here for the Dallas Stars. I need them to tie up this series, and we know need doesn't always help, but I think we're going to see that lower scoring game. I'm expecting a solid performance out of Stuart Skinner. He's proven he can do so, but I think Jake Ottinger really needs a bounce back from what we saw in that last game. So I'll be looking at the under in the game, and I'll also be looking at the Dallas Stars to be able to get the win. And then when we look at tomorrow's action between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, this Knicks team, I do think they have the ability to come out strong again in Indiana. You look at the road home splits between these two teams, and both teams have been better out there on the road. So I'm going to go with another game here for the Knicks to be able to get the win. Now, if I think they're going to get the win at plus 114, I'm going to play with alting it again in tomorrow's matchup. I laid 5.5 and 10.5 last night. The 5.5 did cash as they won at 106 to 100. It looked in jeopardy though, Tom. It wasn't an easy one. I didn't think it was going to cash the 5.5, but I do think I'll alt it again. Probably laying 2.5 this time. I think it's a bit tighter of a game. What about you?
So for the hockey game tomorrow, the fact that we're already seeing a 6.5 out there, I'm going to be on the under 6.5. Again, I have a Stars ticket at 7.5 to 1. So I don't think, if this game ends with 7-8 goals, and it ends 5-3, I think more times than not, Edmonton wins that type of game. So the Stars, I want to see them limit the offense from the Oilers as best as they can, because obviously that's a very tough thing to do. But I'm going to see the Stars score first, and I want to see them win this game 3-2, 3-1. Maybe that's asking a lot. Maybe I'm just being a bit too hopeful, knowing that I have a Stars ticket. If the Stars do have or do come away with the win, I will be looking to buy back into Edmonton, as I spoke about with Cam. You have an Edmonton ticket, I'm sure you said, but I want to buy back into Edmonton to get out of the Stars ticket, or at least come out, maybe not net profitable, but just net even at a certain point, knowing that I've had the Stars ticket going for months. As for the NBA game tomorrow, I was on the under yesterday, under 223, and the fact that it's at 220, that's a pretty big correction of 3 points from game to game. So I will be looking to see how this game starts off in the first quarter, and then probably betting a live total at that point. Point being is, if we see a lot of scoring early, wouldn't be surprised to see that total jump up to 227, 228. That's where I want to jump in on the live under. I don't want to play the under initially because I see some scoring early.
Oh, I love that look that you're looking at there. I also want to throw out just the odds right now to take the Stanley Cup. The Panthers are minus 110, the Oilers plus 145, Dallas at plus 700, and Carolina 43 to 1. I do have a ticket on Edmonton, got them with better value, kind of 4 to 1 market, but at plus 145, I think a great bet, as well as Connor McDavid to win the Conn Smythe. He is the odds-on favorite at plus 195, Tom.
Yes, I saw that. I have a ticket on Bobrovsky to win the Conn Smythe, which is somewhat of a hedge against the Stars. I did check on the numbers on Jack Kohanowitz, the pitcher for the Angels. He's allowing 2.54 home runs per 9 to lefties, which puts Bellinger in a great spot. He has a low strikeout rate, along with a 36% fly ball rate. So Bellinger gets it up in the air, some nice hitting weather in LA. He could be in a spot. We are done. It's been 4 hours. It has been great. We've run through all the MLB games, myself, Tom Vecchio, and Joe Madden. We're now passing off to Scott Wetzel and Dave Sharapan. Thank you all for being here. Happy Memorial Day right here on SportsGrid. We'll see you guys later.